G'day everyone. If you could see the table, which is down there, you'd think I was cooking because I've got vegetable oil, a very old beer, Australia's favourite, Vegemite, which is yeast extract for those pagans who don't understand Vegemite, garlic, and a tangerine. No, this is not one of my cooking, preserving type videos. We're coming into spring, which means lots of things grow, including insects and bugs and fruit fly. So it's time we had a look at making up some baits and sprays that we can use later. And I'm going to make up a few. First one I'll do is going to take a little while. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make up some fruit fly. What would you call it? It doesn't hurt the fruit fly, they just don't like it. And it sort of keeps them away from our fruit tree. So we take our cheap garlic and we measure out roughly 200 grams of it. Doesn't have to be exact. So we have 200 grams of garlic. We need 4 teaspoons of this, paraffin oil. Our purpose of this is to absorb our garlic. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do a bit more actually. Do quite a lot more. Because what we've got to do is get our garlic to infuse that paraffin oil. In fact, I'll do a lot more. I think I'll rethink this recipe. All right. Now that has to sit for about an hour or two. And then we're going to sort of drain it off. I'll pop him over there for the time being. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make up some pest oil, which is 1/3 of a cup of dishwashing detergent, biodegradable. We shall pour into there. It is then mixed with 1 cup of vegetable oil. Any sort of vegetable oil will do nicely. Let's try to get that. Blast that detergent out too. Just let that drain for a minute or two. Stay. And this is our concentrate. Put it in way too big a bottle, but it's a bottle that I've got lying around. We add 1 litre of water, just washing out last of the detergent and oil. Over there. And this, we shake it up. Nice and foamy. This is our concentrate. We use about a teaspoon of this in a litre of water into one of our sprayers. We spray it on and it kills the bugs. I've got lots of use for that because I'm getting a lot of scale around the place now, so I'm going to use that fairly soon. The next one we're going to make requires a cool drink bottle. And then we need this. Every Australian loves this stuff, including our Australian fruit flies, which are actually Mediterranean fruit flies, but there we go. So what we need to do, if we find where I've left my teaspoon, we need to get a teaspoon of that in there. Isn't that yummy? Ooh, good stuff. So we'll just sort of scrape it in there. If you were here, you could lick the spoon. I do like Vegemite. Come on, in you go. That's right, we'll be able to get it through there. So I've just put the Vegemite in here, which is our yeast extract. You could use Marmite, I suppose. That's more available to you. Or failing that, just normal yeast. However, if you're just using normal yeast, you'll need to add a bit more of this, which is sugar. Now we're going to add a teaspoon and a bit. And what happens with this is the yeast, being yeast, brews and forms sort of alcohol. Now, the Vegemite's really good because it's just really good. It seems to add a better aroma, but there's one more ingredient after the water that we're going to have to do. Now, I'm using hot water here in the hope that it's going to force that little bit of Vegemite through. Now, we need about 1/3 of a bottle of water. A bit more than we needed, but it'll be fine. Put the lid on. Give it a good shake. Try and dissolve some of that Vegemite and the sugar. Should do all right. And our last ingredient is to give it the aroma that's very appealing to our fruit fly. We have a very discerning type of fruit fly in WA, and they do like a bit of orange peel, or in this case, tangerine. So I'm going to grab a bit of peel off my very juicy tangerine. Like that much is plenty. Take our lid off again. And we shall squeeze our orange peel or tangerine peel. We'll drop it in there. Put our lid back on. Give it another shake up. And it's ready. Almost. How are our fruit fly going to get in? Well, we grab a knife, like so, pop in through, give it a bit of a twist. Bearing in mind, fruit fly are pretty small. We just put a couple of holes in it. This is now going to be hung up near one of my fruit trees, and all the little fruit fly will come in, can't get out, attracted to this wonderful brew that we've got in the bottom there, and they won't lay their eggs in our fruit. We hope. That, along with the garlic that's soaking in paraffin oil, we'll spray that on to keep them away, and somewhere else we will put this. Now, the last one I want to do, I don't really want to do. I assume we all know what Slaters are, or they call them curly things or something or other. But they're a little crustacean-y bug that, when you touch it, roly-polies, that's what they call them. It rolls up into a circle, a little ball. Now, they're really good for breaking down stuff in the garden. They're good in the compost. They're generally a good thing to have around until you have too many of them. And when you get too many, they start attacking all your seedlings and they bite them off the base. So you need to do something to keep them under control. And I've found the best thing for that is beer. They're elkies. They love beer. So I've got some very cheap old beer. Being a non-drinker, I don't know what this stuff tastes like. I hope it's not going to explode on me. No, it didn't. But any beer will do. I would suggest the cheapest, nastiest, horriblest stuff you can find. But all you're going to do is pour it into some paper cups, like so. And if we look in there, can we see in there? It's up to about there. So I've put about that much, about half a thing of beer in there. I'll do a few of them, and we'll put these out right now. All right, so all we're going to do is, in my little asparagus bed here, under the mulch that I've got in here, we're getting a fairly large number of Slaters. So just going to dig a bit of a hole, like so. Get one of the cups, get an earthworm, and bury him up to the edge, like so. If we come in, you will see Slaters can crawl up to the edge, they fall in the beer, and they drown. Happy slaters, but they still drown. Another great thing about these bear traps, when they're full, you just bury them. They're great for the garden. All those little slaters broken down, adding to the garden. Anyway, as I say, I don't like doing this. Slaters are really good guys, but not when there's too many. Let's go back. And there he is there, hanging on the fence. Hopefully he'll attract the fruit fly, and I won't get into my plums and other things that I've got along here. While I've been over there, notice there's a bit of scale and other nasties around. So now's a good time to grab our concentrate. And you'll notice I'll be very careful with measurements here. We need about 15 mils or 3 teaspoons in a litre of water. So I'll go exactly 3 teaspoons. A bit much. As I said, it's not poisonous in any way. It's just economies. 3 teaspoons per litre will do the job, so why add more? So we'll cover up our concentrate again. We'll go and get one of my Timu sprays. Put some water in there, top it up, and I'll go around and spray things. But importantly, let's label what this is. Pest oil concentrate. This is the 1 1/4 litre, so I'm just going to fill it up. It'll be roughly right. Doesn't have to be exact, as I said. Pop my sprayer in it. I'm going to run around and spray a few of the scales and things I've got on my Tamarillo and also on my raspberries over there. Timu sprayers. I'm going to have to get more of these. They're actually quite good, but I dropped one and they're brittle, so handle snapped off. Not perfect, but certainly do the job. Now, as we can see, nice and white, cloudy, and this will work because the oil will cover the insect and it won't be able to breathe. But any insect that comes and lands around that area later on shouldn't harm them at all, because it's just a thin coating of oil and they can avoid it or go around it, or it won't be coating them. So let's go do a bit of spray. We'll go over and have a look at some of those black scale that are on there. But again, we must label things. There's that scale there. Little black things like that. I've sprayed them. And it's down the trunk as well. Just the odd spot one around. But we've sprayed them now. Let's come back in a few days and see how it's going. And there's our issue. Ants. Ants are farming them. You can do a bit more of a spray there. Well, the sun has set. Some bugs are sprayed. Some traps are set. And I hope you saw that we can actually make some stuff up that's not really harmful to anything that we don't intend it to be harmful for. Nice eco-friendly way of controlling some of the pests. I'm really not keen on getting rid of all the pests. We need a bit of everything. We need the ants, we need some of the scale around, definitely need the slaters and other things. But sometimes we do need to keep them under control. So I find that this stuff works. It doesn't work as well as some of the nasty chemicals, but it does work, and it doesn't hurt anything, except what you want it to hurt. So enjoy life, catch you in the garden, stay away from those nasty chemicals. Bye.